Hey everyone, Professor Hank here. So today we're going to talk about classes in C++. We'll talk about declaring classes, and then we'll talk about how you can instantiate an instance of a class. So to write our class, we'll have to declare it. And so to do that, we're going to have this keyword class, we're going to have a name, and then we're going to have a body that's terminated with a semicolon here. And then we're going to have private stuff and we're going to have some public stuff. Now, the private stuff are going to be a couple of member variables, which we'll call length and width. So double width and double length. And right here, this is where the declaration of the private members goes. So this is declaration of the private members. And then in addition to having some variables associated with this class, we're also going to have some functions. So we're going to put the function prototypes here. They're going to be public. And just like you would have with standalone functions, we're going to be defining or declaring the functions later. So we're just going to include the prototypes here. So we'll have one prototype called setWidth, which is going to simply update the width variable with its argument. We'll have another function called setLength, which is going to do the same thing, but for the length variable. And we'll have three functions that are simply going to return the width, return the length, and then calculate the area by returning the product of those two things. Now, these first two functions here, since they can change the object, that will be an instance of class rectangle. They are known as mutators. Now, these last three, since they don't change any of the data that's associated with the class, right? Those are known as accessors. They will either return a value from the object that's an instance of class rectangle, or they'll do some kind of calculation and return it. The big idea here, though, is that they don't change any of the data associated with the object that's an instance of the class. To explicitly denote that these are accessors, we're going to mark them as const, and that is going to prevent these methods from being able to update the data stored within the object, but more on that in a bit. Now, what differentiates classes from structures, among other things, are these things called access specifiers. And access specifiers are the keywords public and private. And what these allow you to do is they allow you to control the access that client code has to the members of your class. Now that our function prototypes have been included in our class declaration, it's time to declare our functions. So similar to declaring standalone functions after their prototypes, we can do the same thing here with our functions. So we can declare these functions either right after the class here, right? Or better yet, here. So just like you would find it pointless to declare functions right after the prototypes with standalone functions, so it is here as well. So we'll declare our functions after main. So we'll declare our functions here. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll declare our setWidth function right there. And this is going to be simple. It's simply going to take the argument and use that to update the width variable. So we'll just do something like this: width equals D. Now you take a look at this and you see that there's this red squiggle line here. Why is that? Because this setWidth function right here is in a different scope than class rectangle. The prototypes are defined inside of here, but the function is defined here. Those are two separate scopes. So what we have to do is we have to introduce this new piece. We have to specify which class it belongs to. So the class is rectangle. That's where we want setWidth to be associated with. And then we have to use this special operator called the scope resolution operator, which is just 2 colons. So the scope resolution operator. So now this function declaration is associated with the class declaration. So we'll do a similar thing with our setLength function. We'll simply update the private member variable length with the argument. Now we'll declare our get functions, our getters, our accessors in a similar way. So we're returning a double, and this belongs to the rectangle class. And we've got the getLength function, which accepts no arguments, and we're going to mark it const because it has no business updating any of the fields within the class. And we're simply going to return length. We'll do a similar thing for the width member variable. So this is going to be getWidth, return width, and then we'll calculate and return the area. So we'll simply return length times width. Now you might be wondering again, why make anything private at all since you're the one who's writing the class? Well, as you start to program more and more and more, you're going to find yourself part of bigger and bigger teams. And so other people will be using the classes that you write. And so by using the private keyword and thereby hiding some of the data from the client code, you can increase the chances that your class will be used as it was intended. Now let's go ahead and define an instance of the class. So we'll do that by using the name of the class, and then we'll come up with an identifier for it. So R. So this is similar to if you were to define a structure or if any other type of variable. Okay, so when we do this, this is actually going to create an object in memory, a rectangle object. This is the process of instantiation. So when we define a rectangle, we're actually now going to be placing one in memory that we can interact with. So a class declaration doesn't actually allocate any memory. It just specifies this is what the class is. This is what a rectangle is. It is something that has a length. It is something that has a width. And we have declared what type of operations can be performed on our object when it's in memory. Now that we've defined our rectangle object, we've instantiated the rectangle class, then we can access its public members. So anything that is declared as public, we can apply the dot operator to, and all public members are referred to as part of the public interface. So we can now do something like this. We can say r.setWidth and assign a value to that. And then we can do r.setLength and assign a value to that. And so this 5.2 is passed as an argument to D, which is then assigned to the width. Okay, and so then that width value gets stored here. And then when we call set length, we pass 3.1. That gets copied to L, which then gets assigned to length. All right, now let's retrieve those values, r.getLength, and let's retrieve r.getWidth. Okay, so that is going to just get the values out. It's going to access what's stored in the rectangle object. So let's test that. So you can see there are the two values that were stored in the object. We access them. And then finally, let's check the area. So cout r.getArea. So all that should do is return the product of the two values, length and width. So 16.12. Now let's look at what it would look like if you tried to access one of the private members. Now what are the private members? Length and width are private, all right? So if we were to try to do that, let's say we were trying to do r.length equals 99. See the red squiggle? Won't compile. Compiler will not let you do it. If we tried to do cout r.width, right? Same thing. Compiler won't let you do it. This data is hidden, it's protected. You can't directly access it. The only way that you can access the length and the width fields of our object as defined by this class declaration is to go through the public interface. So those fields will only get updated as we allow through our mutator methods. Now you might have noticed that our getter functions, our getLength and our getWidth member functions, they return values that were in those member variables, right? But the getArea member function was returning a value that was calculated. Why? Why did we do this? We did this way rather than storing the area in a variable. So that way we could avoid the data becoming stale. So when you have a value that's dependent on other data and that other data doesn't get updated when they get changed, that item is said to become stale. So what does that mean? Well, if you put the area of the rectangle and stored it in a member variable, that value would become incorrect as soon as either length or width changed. So this is a bad idea. That's why we calculated the area on the fly when the function was called, rather than store the area in a separate variable. So quick note, you can change the order in which you declare the private and public stuff for your class, so long as you have the keywords included, you can do that. You can also leave out the private keywords so long as the members are before public. Okay, the default within a class is to make everything private. So the compiler is just going to be looking down, as it's going line by line, go, okay, this stuff's all private. It gets to this public keyword, and then it says, okay, well, everything after this is public. And you could even break this up a little bit. You have all kinds of different ways that you can do this. So I could even do something like this, right? So I could start with some private stuff up here. I could put all my public stuff in here. I could do some more private stuff down here. That's kind of gross, but you can do it. It's not recommended because it makes your code harder to read, and you want to make your code as easy to read as possible, but you can do it. You can also repeat this private keyword as much as you want, right? This is more of like a Java thing to do, where they actually require you to use that private keyword or that public keyword every single time for every single method or for every member function. Okay, that's kind of unusual to do in C++, but you can do it. So remember I told you earlier about accessors and what the const keyword does, right? So let's go and change the declaration of one of our accessors just a little bit. So let us say that in here, I decided to do width equals 0, for example. Okay, I can't do that. You see how the width has the red squiggle there? It's because I marked the function here, the method here, constant. This prevents getWidth from being able to update any of the private member variables, and therefore prevents it from having the ability to do anything that it shouldn't have the ability to do. An accessor accesses, it doesn't mutate. So by putting const here, you explicitly prevent this from being possible. The very, very, very last thing is we'll look at pointers with classes. So we can create a pointer that can hold the memory address of another object. So this is creating a variable, a pointer variable that holds the memory address of a rectangle object. Once we do that, we can use the arrow operator, just like we could with structures. So here's an example, .getArea. And so what are we actually accessing here? We're going to the memory location whose address is in P, whose address is in P. The R object's address is in P. So then we're going to access its getArea method here. And then that value is going to be calculated, returned, and sent to cout again. So you can see there it is. And we can also use dynamic memory allocation with classes. So you can do something like this. You can create that pointer. So rectangle S, and then you can use the new operator with it. Let's not forget our asterisk there. So we can say new rectangle. And then from there, we can set the values, right? We can set the length, for example, and we can set the width, and then we could retrieve the area. All right, so let's test that. So we should see 6, which we do. And don't forget that for every new that executes, right, you have to delete that. You have to have a corresponding delete to free up your dynamically allocated memory. So there you have an introduction to classes, how you can declare them, how you can create an instance of a class known as instantiation, which creates an object in memory, and you know how to use pointers in the arrow operator with classes.